California. And we will be doing the basic tablet weaving class. As I mentioned, I hope that everybody has their cards available, 13 cards that are 4 whole and have them numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 13. And Kimiko, you asked about the order of clockwise or counterclockwise. It is clockwise. You got that right? Kimiko, there's my Kim. You will also need 4 balls of yarn, 2 of the dark color, 2 of a light color. This is my loom. This is a loom made by a guy named John Fisher, also known as Durin. This is a Durin loom. I've had this one for 20 years. It's my workhorse. It's a great loom. If you want to contact him to get your own, leave a note in the chat or in the this event and we'll hook you up with him. I've got my bone shuttle. If you want access to, you know, where we get these, leave me a note in the chat again. So let's get kind of started. So going by my instructions, I'm hoping that you printed them out or have them available on a tablet. We're going to start with our cards 1 to 13, and we're going to put them in a pack. And by pack, I mean hold them together like you would a deck of cards. They're going to be with, oh, here, we're going to do this because old lady half blind for close up. There we are. Oh, you're all here. Printed faces up with the number 1 on top and number 13 on the bottom. Be sure that you align all the AAAAs all together. You would be very sad if you got one of them turned. That would just make you kind of miserable. So make sure that they're all lined up. We're going to put a ball of thread in each of, and this is my weaving little box. It has 4 chambers in it. It actually held 4-gallon jugs as a transport box, and I use it to put my balls of yarn. So we're going to feed our thread. Our thread has, let's see, feed the yarn through the back unprinted side up through the printed side. We're going to have the dark color come up through holes A and B. So here's my dark color is red, and A goes to this one. Take my color, and you can use a crochet hook to bring this thread through all of the cards at once and out the top. And once I do that, I'm going to throw that ball into the upper left box, holding the pack carefully. Take my next, and you can follow along and do this with me if you wish. The next dark color will come up from the unprinted back out the printed side, the B. So the next color, dark color, B. And I'm going to take that B and throw it in the upper right-hand corner. Then C will be this light colored, which is a white. Learning how to use the camera to hold my hands in front of the camera. There is C, and I'll take that ball and put it in the lower right. Go. 4th one comes up from the back through the D hole. That's this one. I'm going to flip it over and drop it through. There. So, and give it a pinch, make sure I don't lose them. That goes in the lower left. All right. So now I have all 4 of these threads. I'm going to take those and tie them together in a square, just an overhand knot. And to do that, I will set the whole pack down. That'll be a little easier. 1, 2, 3, 4. Even them up. Two, 3, 4, overhand knot. Okay. And there's extras, so I'm going to pull those back through the cards. And I used a red and a white, hoping that it would show up better on the camera, give me a better registration. I hope it is enough that you guys can see it. I'm following along just to make sure that I'm doing what you guys are seeing. So with your loom laying on a table, and someone had a question about an Oseberg loom, you can certainly warp an Oseberg loom like this. In fact, the Linda Hendrickson, and I know that I posted this link for her, the Linda Hendrickson speed warp or continuous warp video actually is warping like for an Oseberg loom. So you can refer to that video as well. Linda Hendrickson is an excellent source of information on weaving and other string fun. So with your loom laying on a table with the pegs up, I C-clamp my loom. So right here, I have a giant C-clamp holding it to the table. That keeps your whole loom from moving around and sliding. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it says the first thing I'm going to do while I'm holding the pack in my left hand is to drop the knot over my first peg. And for me, it's a tensioning peg. Different looms have like the tension in the middle, and then this is just a peg. Whatever it is, it's the far left-hand side. Your mileage may vary. Now, your left hand is in charge of holding the cards. It does not change. Your right hand isn't going to pick up and start holding the pack. Do not let that happen. Discipline the use of your hands. Left hand is in charge of holding the pack of cards, and the strings are coming up through your hands. So the first order of business is you're going to lift off the number 1 card and drop it. You don't have to worry if it drops this way or that way, or if it turns around, just drop it for right now. You got enough excitement and adventure going on. However, I will tell you that I have this little object that hold it in screen, that a woodworker made for me. And sometimes if I have 40, 50, 60 cards, I will take and loop it over this little peg so that they stack up easier. And when it comes time to set them up, it's easier to organize them. I won't do that this time because you guys don't have one, but just FYI, I have this little thing. If you have a woodworker in your life, ask them to help you. So this piece is critical. You're going to reach between card number 1 and the pack in your left hand and gather those 4 threads. Now the right hand is going to be doing a lot of things. One most important thing is tension. So you now are putting the threads under tension as you route these threads. And I'm just doing a very short warp around the pegs. Okay, see how short that warp is? Very short. Once I've gone all the way around to the starting beam again, the right hand, now the left hand.
Can I interrupt for just a moment? We have a question that asked, could you redo dropping onto the first peg? It was
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to pull it off. And what I'm doing is pulling them back so that you can see that move. So the pack is back together. I dropped it over the first peg. I grabbed the first card, set it on the ground, and reached between the first card and the pack and grabbed that set of threads. And now the right hand is pulling taut against the first peg and warping. We got that?
Jay, did that answer your question?
Hey, Jay, glad you made it. Okay, were you there?
Not seeing an answer, so.
She may be doing it.
Right.
So And then just an aside, while we hear from Jay, I'm looking downward on my loom. So this is not the way I would weave it. When I'm going to weave it, I'm going to flip the loom up and set it on the table, but I'm looking downward. That's why this loom cam is so helpful on the pegs. And if the next pass accidentally goes on this peg instead of that peg, I am able to see visually downward to make sure that it follows the path of the threads before it. Okay, we'll hear from Jay if there's a problem. How about that?
Yes, I'll let you know.
Goof. So
it looks like Jay got dropped for some reason.
Uh-oh. Okay. So left hand's job right now is to take the tension away from the right hand. The right hand was holding the tension. Now the left hand job, I clamped down on my hand and kind of did a loop around my fingers so that I'm pulling now with tension on these threads to make sure we have tension. Not bone crushing. You're not going to break a string, but just a tension. Just tension, not a tension. And the right hand is going to push the strings down on all the pegs so that it leaves room for the next pass. So around the corner of the first peg or tensioning peg, the right hand takes over the job of tension, pulls the second card, card 2, off the stack and reaches between that card and the pack. And now I'm going for the second one. And around the same pegs that I went around for the first one. Okay, left hand is now holding the tension, right hand is loose. And the right hand is going to press down on that next set of 4 threads to make sure I've pushed them down. Round the corner and continue. I'm going to continue warping. If people have questions, Gita, they can pop them in on the chat. We can chat about them.
Yes.
Notice left hand holding tension. I'm actually pulling this way. I've looped it around my hands and it's pulling that way to keep tension. So here's 4th card. 4th card drops. I reach between, I reach between that single card I just dropped and the pack. There are 2 errors you can make at this point. One error, you forget to drop a card and you just blithely go round and round. You can tell that because there'll just be a set of strings going through without a card on it. The other error you can make at this point is to drop 2 cards at once. So be aware, you don't want to do that. Left hand pulling tension while I push down on the cards. And while I'm there, you don't have to, but I'm just going to go ahead and flip these face down. Don't have to. You'll be organizing it later, but if you're comfortable with what you're doing so far, left hand still holding tension. I'm going to go around the tension beam again. And notice all this time, I haven't been talking about the balls of yarn, balls of thread down here in the box. They're down there, but they're all in their separate compartments and pulling out evenly together. That's a critical piece. If those were all in just one box or one bowl, they would mix and twist and wind and bind under your hand and make you sad. So let's avoid that. So left hand holding tension until the right hand starts paying attention. There we go. Right hand pushing down. Card 6 is where I'm at. Card 7. Really gets fun when you do wool with 60 cards. That's fun. Now I just noticed here that darn Aunt Lydia, this is Aunt Lydia's crochet cotton, leaves me a little, this is a little knot. if that were critical to the work that I'm doing here, if I were doing an important piece where a knot in the middle of my weaving would be bad, what I would then do is I'd pull this set of 4 back. I would cut whichever card was that, whatever thread had that knot in it here, and I cut out the knot and re-knot it here and continue warping. This is the start and stop of your weaving. So whatever chaos, knots, crossovers happen here at the beginning, you don't care about, because when your weaving is done, you're essentially going to be cutting here and you'll have good weaving along this whole path, right? But I'm going to ignore it because this is just a sample piece. Creating just a sample. Left hand in charge of tension, so I'm going to push down on all the threads. Card 8 for me. When weaving in wool, I recommend using, I use hair conditioner, my hair conditioner. I have it in a little bottle. And as I'm weaving, I don't make the threads wet, but I just rub a little on the outside to keep them from felting and sticking together. So I'm just checking to make sure I have not forgotten to drop a card around the corner. And this is the magical drop off here. I'm dropping off card 10, reaching between the single card and the pack. Reaching between the card and the pack. See, left hand let go, things went bad. Now they're back in order. Reaching between card 12 and the pack. Nice bonus of this Durin loom, and you'll see it a second. I have a sidebar that once the loom is warped, the sidebar goes down over the pegs to keep the pegs from crushing inward and snapping and breaking. I tend to break looms, and so far haven't broken a Durin loom because tension is important. You want to have the strings under tension as you weave. So here I am, come back around. You may still be warping, but I want you to watch this move that I do. So here is the ending. I'm going to take my scissors and cut and leave me maybe 6 inches off the end. So I've cut those 4 off. Oh, I forgot to cross check. Oh, bad me. Pretend that I've cross-checked, that I haven't forgotten to drop a card or drop 2 cards. Ooh, I just did. Good girl. So way back here, remember we had a knot that we dropped over that starting peg? I'm going to pull those threads up off the peg. So here it is. Here's our starting knot. Drop it underneath the rest of the cards. And there it is. That's card number 1. And I'm going to take card number 1. It's a little out of frame. Let me tilt the camera just slightly. Yeah. So here's card number 1, the starting knot. And here's the ending threads in my left hand.
Bridget, you're caught underneath the bottom of the loom there, your string.
Woo, good job. Smart. Thank you. Good eyes. So I usually use a surgeon's knot, which is a double loop over. It's also the lonely weaver's knot because nobody's here to put their finger in the middle of the knot. So tie it once and twice, a square knot with a surgeon's knot at the beginning. So again, remember I said that you can let knots and other chaos and crossovers happen here at the front of the beam. So I've now tied that start and end. This makes it a continuous warp. It is 1 loop, tilting back. This is 1 loop from the knot through the cards, around the pegs, and back to the end, back to the start again. Right, we did that. Boop-a-doop-a-doo, starting point, squeeze the pack, make room for the pegs, flip the page. Where are we on page 2? Continue from step 5, cross-check your warping to make sure that you don't have any crossovers here, or that you've dropped 2 cards at once, or forgotten to drop a card. What's going on here? Chaos. Okay, we got it. So they're all still kind of cattywampus, and we'll get them aligned when we flip the loom over. I want to just make sure that I haven't missed any points I should be telling you. So you will want to fix any of those if you have a string that's crossed over or flipped over here, or if you've dropped 2 cards or no cards, you want to get that fixed before you turn your loom over to have it sit upright. Undo the C clamp, and we're going to turn the cards around. So how we're doing. How we doing? We okay? People are coming along? Yes, no? Scream real loud. I'm going to move some things, including my loom cam. So give me a second, talk amongst yourselves, ask questions while I move. And just so you know the chaos we have going on here. This is my loom cam, which is a small table on top of an upside down stool on top of a little camera mount. Hilarious, isn't it? Back to looming. And that's the loom room back there. So slide it down. And I'll get this reset. No freaks out. Nobody freaks out.
So Bridget, I have a question.
Speak.
When you are speed warping like that, and I know that you have the balls in each their own little cubicles there, do you ever have trouble with still getting the knots or get the string tangled up on the other side of the guard? Okay.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, there's always chaos that goes on. But by using standard techniques of bolting your loom down and using the separate compartments, you can minimize some of the chaos. So there's a lot of moving parts in weaving, and by having standard things you do each time, you can minimize when things do go wrong, like forgetting to drop a card, or the wrong threads here or there, or them getting bound up, and I'm waving my hands in the wrong place, getting them bound up in the box down there. So one of the magic, like I said, of this fabulous loom is that this sidey bar goes on, and then that means that the pegs can't creep in as I tighten the tension on them. Flipping the loom over. Bring this guy back. And hopefully lower it down just a little bit more. Feel like all the people on TV who, I have to have my own cameraman. Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. You do now. Sorry. I am my own cameraman. So, let's move it over to this side. So it's part of it. Get my toesies in there too. My Disney carpeting over there. Yeah. All right. See how much chaos we can cause right here. All right, that should be fairly good. Oh, baby. All right, let's see if we can do this. Come on, strings. We kept focus here, please.
Looks like Lee is trying to come back in now, so yay.
Hey, people might come, people might go.
We have a few folks who, for some reason or another, have had problems finding the link for this class.
Ooh,
So you're going to have people coming in a little late as I get them the info.
Ah,
I don't know
oh,
why.
curses. Curses. All right. There we go. All right, so the next task before us is to align our cards. And so I want to make sure that, and some chaos that can happen is the strings can jump over other cards. So what you see here is that this card is popped over that card. This thread is popped over that card. And so one at a time, and this is why you number cards so that you know which one should be next. We'll cross over there. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to look at them. There's 13. And I call this point here the weaver view. So here are the cards, and they're normally upright like this. So I'm just going to rotate them so you can see. This is the card that's closest to me. This is what I call the weaver view card. And so my patterns are going to reference that. So when I say I want you to look at the weaver view, you're going to look at this card here. So I'm going to go through them. Here's one, and this is a D, and the setup, whoops, flipping my page here. The setup has A all across. So A here in this location, the weaver view. So I'm flipping.
Bridget, we have a question from
Yes.
Deborah.
Yeah.
She said, I did my loom last night. I couldn't find information at the time, so mine is different than
Yes.
yours. I did S and Z,
Okay.
and I'm in Australia, so the information wasn't available to me.
And apologies, I only just posted it this morning. You did just fine. For the class today, if you could flip them to be all Z's, that'd be great, so that you can follow the pattern that we're doing. Hoping that works for her.
So will you keep me out of the meeting if I ask if the S and Z twist is reversed in Australia since it's at the other side of the globe? Muting now.
Boom.
Okay, I'll get you for that, Debbie. I'm going to call you
Of course
Debbie.
you will.
She'll be here all week.
So what I'm doing now to organize these, first step was to make sure they don't jump over each other. The threads don't jump over the cards, and I've done that.
We have another question from Bonnie that said, my
Yes.
weaver view faces right. Can I just flip them to face left?
What is critical for right now is Z. So for what you're doing, if you have the faces on the right, that's okay. What I would like to see is Z, and it's in the instruction page on the other side of the instruction page here. So we talk a lot about S and Z, and what that means is here's Z, and it kind of looks like the letter Z if you like cross your eyes, and the S kind of looks like the letter S, sort of, kind of like. But this section is the loom going that way, and this section is this part of the loom. So if I have a card here, it comes out, it comes from the loom, from the supply through the card, and in from the right to the left, and comes out the left holes. That's a Z. So even if your faces are printed on the right hand side, if you for this class could flip them to be Z, that would be great. Let me explain flip. We are going to get into explaining flip later. This is turning the cards. This is flipping the card. Now this card suddenly has become an S because the supply warp comes in from the left and comes out through the right up to my tension bar. That's an S. And to send it back, I flip it, and now the supply warp comes in from the right and out through the left. All of the cards that we warped today, if you warped them today just now with me, should be Z. Did that answer the question, Gita? I think I got off track.
I believe so.
Okay.
And we did have another question that said Z threaded or a Z slant, and you already answered that in your,
Okay.
so.
Don't add confusion with the slant. Although, if you look at the cards as they stand here, they do slant. All of these cards, if they just are sitting here, they're kind of slanting this way. Just FYI, just they're slanting. And that's what somebody means by Z slant or S slant. But for the purpose of this class, and that's one thing that you'll find in most any craft of any kind, anything we're doing with our hands where we're trying to explain to other people how we did it back through the centuries, is the terminology. What is the ion attached to the proton, or is it actually the space in the ion? It's a terminology that is critical, and it's important when trying to teach that we explain our terms, and pictures do help. Then when you go out into the world and you come across a pattern, and there are books and books and websites full of patterns, you can kind of go back and go, okay, their terminology is different, but here's the picture, and I can kind of understand it by translating the picture. So this one for me is a great example of how S and Z work. So I've still not flipped. So I have to flip my, I have to turn my cards. This is turning, which is on the axis of the card. This is flipping. We're not going to flip just yet. So I am going to turn my cards to make sure I have the A, and I hate saying a-hole, the A pointed at me. This A here is pointing at me. There's a B. So I'm going to turn this one so that the A is pointed at me. This is a B. I'm going to turn it. So make sure, go through all your cards. In some cases, you need to turn them a couple of times. Kind of doesn't matter which way you turn them. There will be twisties down here. Don't worry about it. Remember, this part is the beginning of your weaving. You don't need to worry about it. Just it'll all be cut out later in post. I'll go this way and make the A here. And there also is a lot of discussion on what cards to use and what size to use. I have big old man hands, but these laces cards I just love. I love them. I have piles and piles of them. I use them in classes. They work really well for me, even with my big old giant hands. I have developed little calluses on the inside parts of my knuckles from turning cards a lot. Too big a card for me is just hard to manage. And if the cards are very much smaller, Pine Box Traders makes cards that are kind of this square. They're fabulous cards. I love how they're colored. But for me personally, I find that sometimes when I'm turning, the threads will pop over the cards and get out of alignment. So that for me doesn't work. Your mileage may vary. Find the cards that work right for you. Playing cards also work very well and are budget conscious. And there are a million websites out there that tell you how to make playing cards turn playing cards into weaving cards. And I think Jay and maybe others were doing 3D printed cards, which does sound very intriguing as well. So I have turned all of my cards so that the A points towards me. And I made sure the numbers 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. So count 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. So here's my shuttle. I have a number of shuttles. I have a million shuttles. I have a million of many things. I have a bunch of different fun shuttles. The ones I have stuck on are these bone shuttles, and I dig them. I really like them. They're slickery in the hand. They have a very well-defined knife edge, and I dearly, dearly love them. It does not matter for what we're doing today, what color you put on your shuttle. In fact, it doesn't even have to be one of the two colors that we're dealing with today. It could be a different color. If you have for later projects, if you have a border cards are specifically cards that are in the weaving, but are like, it could be these two outer cards are border cards. And I wonder if I can tilt it just a little, so you see a little more. So this would be the pattern, and it's turning and making a pattern, but these cards would be on the outside edge, and their purpose is to keep the whole band kind of together and create a beautiful edge on your weaving. So you would want these border cards would be all one color, at least on the very outside. And then the shuttle would be the same color as the border cards so that it would disappear along the edge. Although sometimes people put a contrasting color as their shuttle, and it creates lovely little dots along the edge. You want to make sure you are very even with your weaving. So I just did a little quick slip knot in the red, and this is my knife edge, and this is the knot knife edge. And I like to warp my shuttle in a figure 8 like this. Hold it under the webcam, because for me, if I wind it this way straight through, as these threads are going back and forth in the shed, it slightly can wear them down. Might not matter with a crochet cotton. It might matter in very lightweight, very thin wool, not silk. That'll withstand anything, but it's just a general practice for me to wind it on the spine. Also, as I'm weaving and moving quick with my weaving, my hand can immediately tell which is the knife edge, and it would be the edge without the weft wound on it. Back in the bin, I'm going to wind a little on here. How much do you wind on here? I don't know. I can show you how to make a join. Note to self, Gita, help remind me how we show them how to make a join when we get there.
Do that.
Yes. All right, so I have my shuttle ready to go. So the first thing that we're going to make is fabric in one color. We're making a band with fabric in one color. And to do that, that is under weaving patterns in, I guess we would call it the 3rd page. And the pages I did here, these guys I use because I don't have a fancy drawing art program. I just have Excel, and I am a minor duchess of Excel, so I do like Excel. One thing to note on this is what you are going to weave today. You're going to weave a dark fabric, a light fabric, a big checkerboard, a smaller checkerboard, slanty lines, and chevrons. And this is how it will look on your loom. You'll be weaving up through this. The patterns go down, so it's going to be dark fabric, light fabric, checkerboard, small checkerboard, slanty lines, and chevrons. And I almost thought about flipping this over, but it made my brain hurt. So no worries. There you go. This is your end result today, what we're hoping to get to today. And we will. So starting it out, this is your starting position. So there's another pattern on the 2nd page where I say, go back to your starting position. This here is a starting position. What we have here, which is all the cards with A along the top, and it's all in Z configuration. So this is telling me card number A means A toward the W. W is the weaver point of view, weaver view. We're going to turn the whole pack 2 turns away and then 2 turns towards. So every time you turn the pack in some configuration, you will pass the shuttle. So I'll say here, turn 2 cards, two turns away and 2 turns towards you. Each time you turn the entire pack, you'll pass the shuttle. So turn the cards, pass the shuttle. So these are in their ready configuration. We are going to make dark colored red fabric. So when we just start out, this is my trick for starting out. For the first 3 turns of the cards, the first turn, I'm going to lay the shuttle in and leave just a tail. All right. and it's telling me turn the whole pack 2 turns away. So here's my marker to tell me away. This is the scissors tell me away. This is the cards making this away turning motion. Let me move it just a little bit so that you can actually see.
I'm going to interrupt again to say that
Hello.
is the single most ingenious idea I have ever heard in my whole life.
What'd I do? What?
Your scissors away and back.
I know, right? That's wonderfully simple.
It's so simple, and you don't need the scissors for anything else at this point. You're a genius.
Yay. I try to be humble. I fail all the time. I'm going to bring 4 little paper clips here. We have one more tip that I'll tell you later. But this means away. So this whole card pack is going to turn 1/4 turn, not a full turn, a quarter turn. You traditionally move the cards 1/4 turn away. I slide down and up. That's called clearing the shed. The shed is the triangular section made by the cards opening up. This section is here if you have a floor loom, table loom, little Cricut loom. This is the opening when the heddle or inkle loom, any kind of loom that has something to create this opening. This is called the shed, because a shed out in back of your cabin or your home is often a little triangular place where you keep the goats. So there we are. Now, as I'm looking at this, something is popping out at me. What is this white thread? Why is that wrong? Look at that. Look at that. I had the arrangement wrong. This is BBC. So this card here is out of alignment. So I'm going to rotate this whole pack backwards to the starting point. I'm going to take out the thread that I started with. So I'm reversing because something went wrong. I basically tinked. For those of you knitters, I tinked back. So I'm looking at it again. So somewhere in the handling, this card got out of alignment. I'm going to rotate it back. Card 3 is back so that it's all the way across. And we'll do that again. Shuttle goes through. Doesn't matter left to right, right to left, and leaving a little tail. Then marker saying 1/4 turn away. And when I turn it away, I feel this thump, thump, thump. As you're turning the cards, don't slam them together because the cards are rolling, the threads are rolling over each other. You want to accordion the pack out as you're turning, and they'll turn a little easier. And I don't see that white thread. Hey, I fixed it. Then I'm going to hold the whole pack, and see, I'm holding it and kind of cupping it with the pinky down here and the forefinger down here. This is a nice way to handle the whole pack together. With the cards accordioned out and me gripping the whole section, I'm going to go up and back once. That's called clearing the shed, which makes the threads pop open in this little shed arrangement. So now we're ready to pass the shuttle again. So I am going to take the shuttle, pass it through, and we're just starting out, but just good practice is we're just going to, that's my starting point right here. So, and I'm going to take that all the way through, all the thread all the way through. And then to lock in my weaving at the very beginning, where's my tail? I'm going to take my tail. This is the starting tail here. And I'm going to roll it back through in the opposite direction. So the 2 threads, the main shuttle thread and the tail, starting tail, have crossed over each other. And I give it a little tug, just a little tug. All right, so that was 1. We need to go 2 away. And I will clear the shed down and up. And that opens up my triangular area. Now here the colors are going to be mixed because I'm looking at the top threads coming through the top holes. This, bring it down. This is where the red threads are. This is where the white threads are. So naturally, I'm going to have a mix of red and white right here. Don't worry, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. And I will take my shuttle. And now that we have a few threads in there, I'm going to beat. And instead of beating, which might damage your threads, do a scrub, which is a wipe, a scrub instead of a beat. and pull the thread all the way through. Another trick that I do is I grab the little loop with my pinky and then just to tug in the right hand direction this way, give it a tug to the right, let go of the pinky and pull with my left. And I'm pinching right here because there's a moment where I feel that little loop right there goes bloop inside. If I tug too hard, then I have too tight a band. And I do want it that narrow. It's going to be that narrow. All right. Now, this is the second pass. So we're going to want to take the tail back through the shed again so that it crosses over. We're going to do that one more time. Now, according to the instructions, we went 2 turns away. I'm going to move my marker and go 1 turn towards me. Clear the shed. A little tug. Shuttle back through. And as I go, I'm going to give it that scrub, that little scrub. Pinky, grab it, make a loop, and the pinky's pulling to the left and pulling the shuttle to the right. 1 more pass with the tail. And now what the tail's going to do is it's going to just lay with the rest of the warp threads down here at the very end when all this is woven. And I'm remembering that this is pointed towards me. You're going to take your scissors and pull this really tight, nip it right up close to the edge. And that little end is going to suck inside and you'll never see that little end. And now this is locked in. You can make fringe down here at the end of your band if it's going to be a belt or something, but know that it's locked in. It won't unravel on you. I have 1 more turn to make towards me. And then remember that when I say turn, it's a 1/4 turn of the entire pack. Down and up, clear the shed. And my usual practice is to take, I have the shuttle hand and the not shuttle hand. I put the shuttle hand through just to make sure that I haven't caught any extra little threads that are loose. The shuttle touches the not shuttle hand and greets it, and then let the not shuttle hand escort the shuttle through to make sure that I don't catch some threads. I want to make sure that the shuttle passes through the shed without hitting other threads. So loop, pull it to the right, and now to the left. I don't need to worry about my tail anymore. How's that? We okay? All right. Oh, how many did I do? 1, 2, right? I look to the edge. If I want to count how many passes I've made, I'll say, okay, I made 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 pass, 4 pass. So you can count passes. The scissors tells you which direction you're weaving, and you can have coins or paper clips or whatever to tell you how many passes you've made. Then it says, so we did 2 away and 2 towards me. And okay, I'm going to continue that and make more red fabric. So I'm going to turn my pointer marker away because I'm making red fabric. Here are the red threads. The red threads need to move from towards me to up to back. So that's 1, 2. And then the other direction, 1, 2. So forward and back, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if I continue doing that, red forward, red top, red back, red top, red forward, I will make red fabric. So I'm going to continue going. This tells me it's away. Clear the shed. Scrub. Pinky. Pull. I did 1. Good for me. I'm going to do the second one. Away. This tells me away. Clear the shed. Scrub. Pinky. Pull. Just point of order. Some people leave the loop there and they'll do another pass. Perfect. Oh, I did the second one. That's perfectly acceptable. And that works just fine. I don't, but others do, and it totally works either way. I want to make more red fabric. I'm making red fabric here. I'm going to do one more. So this means I need to turn my marker towards me. The red is up top. The red needs to pass towards me. One. Clear the shed. Oop, first. Good. You guys all caught that. I heard you. There was like a universal, like, wait, don't forget the loop. Okay, go back in there and I bring the loop. I don't usually do it, so see how I forget. Pinky. The pinky, I go to my left and now to my right. And the red is along the top, so I know I have one more to do. I've only done one pass. Let me do my second pass. Sorry, I'm not keeping my paperclip notes properly. And that was towards me. Left hand greets the shuttle and guides it gently through the forest. It's a little lumpy. Bridget, why is it lumpy? All right. There we are. I'm better. Great. Now we've made dark fabric. How would you suppose we make light colored fabric? To make light colored fabric, we have A in the weaver view, which is this upper left-hand position because it's pointing straight at me. We're going to turn the pack 2 turns towards me and then 2 turns away. So it's already ready to go. We're going to count, since we're only counting by 2s. So we're going to go, and this is our first pass towards me. Quarter turn towards me. Uh-oh, it suddenly went white. That's what we wanted. Clear the shed. Shuttle. Greet the non-shuttle hand. Stop halfway. Scrub. And at each pass, you want this line where the threads come together. You want that line straight across. Pinky. Pull it on through. And that's the first. We're going to make the second towards me. The marker tells me it's towards me. Right, now I'm going to go away, reset my counters. Away. Shuttle, stop halfway. And that was the first one. I gotta do the second one. Second one. Clear the shed. Greet the shuttle. Stop halfway. All the way through. So I'm starting to make white fabric now. I'm going to tighten this. Let's see, I want you to see me. Cameraman. Okay. So I love this Duran loom. Nice big knob. There's a nice big paddle on it that lets me get a little tighter. So the edge of this loom, the far end of it that you don't see, has a bar on it that hooks over the desk here and lets me just haul back on it using my bone crushing strength, as it were, and making it just a little tighter. And you want it nice and tight. This tension. All right, I'm going to continue to make white fabric. Are you guys making white fabric now? I hope you are. So this is telling me this comes towards me. Let me reset my little markers. This is my first pass. Halfway. Second pass. Good. Keep your markers going. It seems simple that you're doing just simple things now, but if you practice the little tips of keeping your place, it helps reduce the chaos later when there is so much going on. This now goes away and away. Marker 1, marker 2, sorry. So I have now made white fabric or red fabric and then white fabric. And so let's move along. We've made the dark colored fabric and the light colored fabric. Let's go crazy and move along to checkerboard. So we are now going to make checkerboard. And to make this checkerboard, we are going to make it so that 1 through 6, it still has, woo, come down here, still has A in the weaver view, but 7 through 13 have C in this position. So we're going to turn half the cards to quarter turns. And if we all knew our fractions, because we went to school, that's a quarter, that's a half of an entire 360. So we're going to do 2 90s, which is 170, 99, and 180, sorry, math, towards the weaver. Now start weaving the whole pack 8 turns away. So this is 7. This is why you numbered your cards. 7 to 13, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 are going to turn 2 quarter turns towards me. So that's 1 quarter, 2 quarters towards me. Now, oh, I need more paper clips. What the heck? Hey, wagon. Little bits of crap I have at my desk. Oh, shoot, I said crap. Wait, there we go. I have 8 little things that we can use for markers. Which way am I turning? Following, start the weaving with the whole pack, 8 turns away, passing the shuttle each time. So away, we're going to start with 1. Clear the shuttle, and instantly we get 2 color. Pass it on through. 2. 3. This is 3. 4. Oh, see, I got a little wild and crazy. Just jamming through there. It's possible for me to pick up wrong threads. So practice, practice. Use your practice. Left hand, greet the shuttle and guide it through without messing up. 5. 6. 7. And then, well, that was 8. So 8. And if I've done it correctly, I missed one. There we go. 8. If I've done it correctly, there's A, and all of them, there's A's for the first 7, and then C's for the next 7. Just checking where I'm at. And now we have checkerboard. I'm going to advance the, no, we'll keep it in frame. That's fine. So the next thing is smaller checkerboards. So we're going to further subdivide the pack. Instead of being half and half, we're going to have it be quarters. So I know that 13 doesn't make a nice even quarter, but we're going to fake it. So according to our instructions, the outer 3 cards, 1 and 3, and 11 and 13, 11 to 13, are going to turn 2 quarter turns away from me. So 1 and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2 quarter turns, and 11, 12, 13, 1, 2 quarter turns. So I have now taken the pack of 13 and effectively quartered it, and then turn the whole pack 8 turns away. Here we go. Now, interesting fun fact, this no longer has A here, but it does match up with our pattern. This is C. So the pattern says, this is our pattern for smaller checkerboard. The first 3, 1, 2, and 3 are C in the weaver view. 4, 5, and 6 are A. 7, 8, and 9 are C. 11, 12, 13 are A. And if we cross check, 1, 2, and 3 are C. 4, 5, and 6 are A. 7, 8, 9, 10 are C. And 11, 12, 13 are A. Are we there? We okay? Is everybody cool? Nobody's freaking out? Hopefully nobody's freaking out. Now we're going to weave 8 turns away. So we're still moving away. And I'm going to turn the pack before I pass the shuttle away. Here's my first one. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. See it? Try to catch. Try to greet it. 6. 7. Sorry, 7. That was 6. Sorry. How many chips do I have here? Oh, that's it. That's why I can't count, right? Fudge bucket. Gosh darn it. Just trying to weave the word chivalry, and I couldn't weave it right. I ended up with civility. So I can weave, but sometimes can't do math or spell. And one more. 1. There's my 8. And I am back with C in the weaver view and checking along them. CCC, 3 A's, 4 C's, and 3 A's. So just to cross check. So now I made red fabric, white fabric, big checkerboards, little checkerboards. And that matches the first 4 dark fabric, light fabric, big checkerboard, little checkerboard of our plan. The next pattern will be slanting lines. How we doing, Gita? Nobody's freaked out too hard, have they?
Oh, no, it looks like everybody is busily weaving all the videos that are on. And I just have to say, now that you've opened this magical world for me to read Checky.
Starkov and Checky.
Right?
Dude, right? Imagine you had Checky on the sides and then you did a double-faced pattern of flames. What?
Ooh,
What?
yes,
Heraldry in weaving.
exactly.
Herald, like, oh wait, I could show off. This is, okay, wait, it's the other side. So this is my first, what you're doing here today. I did a lot of different things on this. My very first tablet weaving. Here are my straight lines, my wavy lines, and I did some other crazy stuff. There's some checkerboards. I did words.
Wow.
I did Altavia. So I need to orient this. Altavia, that's a word. And it's lovely pattern. If you can chart it, you can weave it, and then honor. Although when I was weaving this, I made the N into an M. So it started going homo, and I went, no. So I unwove it, and then this is where I was trying to write chivalry, and I wrote civility. So can't spell. This is me trying to figure out and get my Checky right, and I did. And then moving on again to more patterns. There we go.
Awesome.
And then other stuff.
And it's wonderful that you still have that.
Yeah, a lot of stuff I've given away as gifts, but I wanted to keep that. And you, all of you weavers, will keep this your first tablet weaving, if it is your first. Let's start with the front edge. You can end things off nicely. This is a lovely way to end it off with a little barber pole and a knot at the end. But even with that, the weaving is already locked in. This can show you the sides with border cards to make a beautiful pattern in the border cards. King Arthur with a crown and Queen Guinevere. So this is double-faced and it's charted. And then what we're going to do in 2 weeks is the Hallstatt. And this is an effect showing, if you don't have border cards, how it can look kind of junky on the side with big floats. But if you put a nice border on it, see how the yellow is a nice border? This is 10 years old. A nice border makes it pretty. So this is the Hallstatt pattern we're going to be doing next week. All right. let us do slanting lines. If you're still staying up with me, one thing I'm going to do is advance my warp. And to do that, I want to be able to have you see what's going on a little more. Advancing the warp basically just means moving your warping, your weaving in a circle a little bit so that you make more space for you to weave. So I'm going to loosen. Oh, wait. Oh, most important is to pin your cards. And I've mentioned this in the handout, and I want to get you into a habit of doing it. If you stop weaving, if you're going to go have dinner, or if there is a small child or dog or cat in the room, or if you're going to advance your warp or do anything crazy, please pin your cards, because if you come back and the cards are all in crazy array, you'll be sad. So I'm going to pin my cards before I advance my warp. So let me move this back. So we get belly cam again. There we go. Advancing the warp. Loosen. Oh, I had it. Cheese toast. Oh, baby. Get it in frame. I'm not going to be allowed back in the cameraman's union, that's for sure. All right. Sorry. Bear with me. So I'm going to loosen this and move this just a little to advance the warp. And I'm pulling a lot. I like it nice and tight. And just, if I haven't sold you on this loom yet, a nice feature is this paddle isn't just a peg, it's a paddle. So I can give it that little extra squeak of tension. And moving the camera back to a viewable position. So we have just the bottom of the checkerboard, giving me a little more swinging room up here. Safety pin, very important. All right, looking at the instructions under slanting lines, the first thing it says is go back to the starting point, or starting position with A towards the weaver. So we've done a lot of the turning of cards here, and I do want to reset back to A in the weaver view.
Bridget, there's a question
Yes.
from Bonnie. She says, I'm still on the large checkerboard. When I take my first double turn away from the weaver with cards 7 through 13, do cards 1 through 6 turn towards the weaver or stay put?
They stay put. The 1 through these, you mean these here, the 4, 5, 6 stays put.
I believe she said 1 through 6.
Oh, yeah, for the big checkerboard. Yes, 1 through 6 stay put, and 7 through 13 are the ones that turn 2 quarter turns. Okay.
Did that help, Bonnie?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
All right.
The transition between the different patterns may look funky. For what we're doing here today, don't sweat it. When you're working on a big project or a big piece, it'll be a little different. You'll be doing kind of all the same thing. I'm running you through, you're making a sampler. You're just making a sampler of different patterns, and you're learning how to move the cards, how to change the cards. So this is not your pentathlon. This is not your arts entry in the state fair. This is just learning. Don't freak out. So for slanting lines, I have now reset my pack back to all A's across. And are we almost caught up? Are people caught up? Just want to make sure I'm not blowing past everybody. How are we doing, Gita? Are people staying with it? Okay. Okay. I will proceed à vous.
Yeah.
All right. This one has some funky moves, but I want you to stay with me. I tried to show some pictures and describe what's going on. We're going to turn the cards to match this pattern. Card 1 does not turn. Card 2 will turn 1 quarter turn away. Card 3 will turn 2 quarter turns away. 1, 2. Card 4 turns 1 quarter turn towards me. And then I will repeat that. Card 5, no change. Card 6, quarter turn away. Card 7, 2 quarter turns away. Card 8, 1 quarter turn towards me. 9, stays put, sorry. 10, 1 quarter turn away. 11, 1, 2 quarter turns away. 12, quarter turn towards me. And 13 stays put because that's the next one in the sequence. So magically, if I then look at the edges of these cards, the weaver view in this top corner towards me is A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, and A at the end. So what has happened is the red has made a journey all the way around. The red goes towards me in the first card. The red goes up. This is up from a weaving standpoint. In the second card, the red goes towards the back in the third card. And then the red goes toward the bottom in the fourth card, and then repeated. So if you think of the red making a journey through the cards, that helps you understand the slanty that we're going to get when we weave. So we've now changed our cards. We're going to weave 8 turns towards the weaver and 8 turns away. So I am now changing my marker to be towards me. And we can use our paper clips to count, but we can also just weave until the red comes back around. And we'll count how many times we go 4 times. We need to go 4 times around twice, 8. So this is 8 turns towards me, weaver, and 8 turns away. So here we go. I don't pass the shuttle until I actually turn the cards. So towards me, 1, 2, greet the shuttle, don't get lazy. 3, clear the shed, greet the shuttle, beat, towards me, 4.
Already you can see the diagonal lines starting to form.
Already see them. And I've done 4 turns towards me, and the A is in the weaver view position. So I know that I can go another 4. 1, 2, 4. So that was 8 turns. The A is back in my weaver view position, and we have slanty lines. And let me show you what it looks like on the other side. The fabric, to start with, we had red fabric and white fabric. The other side, oops, can't see it. The other side is opposite. Checkerboard is opposite. And then the opposite of the slanty lines are these fun jaggedy lines. Now, if perchance somehow in the turning of cards, you did it differently from what the instructions are, I won't say wrong because it's not wrong. It's just different. You'll get these jaggedy lines. So if you get the jaggedy lines, you'll say, oh, well, the pretty part's on the other side. And yes, I have warped a loom, big, complicated, crazy pattern. Ended up doing it differently, which is not wrong, and getting the jaggedies and going, oh, well, I'll just turn it over when I'm done weaving. Just weave, turn it over when you're done weaving. Now, we've done our 8 turns towards us, 2 complete rotations of the cards, got our slanty lines here. The instructions tell us to now go 8 turns away. Perchance, how will it change? What do you think? If it's slanting this way now,
It should slant the other way.
fantabulous. So here we start. 1, 2, 3, They're all away from me. Oh, they got a little crazy. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've done 8. Now it's slanted. The first 8 slanted to the right. The second 8 slanted to the left. I'm back at A in the weaver view position. We did it. We did it. So moving on to the last pattern I have written up for us. This will involve the flipping that we talked about. So with the cards in the positions they were in, we're only going to change cards 8 through 13. So I'm going to slide up to 7, 1 to 7 out of our way. I'm also going to loosen it slightly to allow the cards to flip. Now the flip, as you can see in this pattern, showing you how the cards flip along their top axis, not around their through axis. So on the vertical axis, we're going to flip them. It's going to flip. 8's going to flip. They're all going to flip toward me. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now what we've done is change them from Z to S. If you notice, now the supply threads come in from the top left and out through the bottom right, whereas the initial, they came in through the top right and came out through the left. We changed it merely by flipping them over. Also,
I'm sorry, I missed that whole thing.
oh, no. Okay. So what we've done is we've flipped them, and I'll go back and let me do it again. Let me unflip. So I'm rotating them on this vertical axis, this top axis.
Which ones?
The 8 through 13. This is on the second page, or I'm sorry, this is the second page of the patterns. So this is how they're flipping on the vertical axis, on this vertical axis. So I'm going to flip them back to be the same as the left side pack, the 8 through 13. This is me flipping them back from S back to Z. Carefully. Dated a magician. Know how to do things with cards. Here we go. So there, now I'm back to reset. So the flip is, I moved 1 through 7 up and out of the way. You can't see it right now. Here is 8 through 13. I'm going to flip them on this vertical axis to change the Z from the upper right to the lower left now to S. So I flip them, and if you try to flip them the wrong way, it just doesn't go, because that's not how the cards go. Flip.
Allie, whatever his name is, hang on.
You may need to ask the question in the chat. So when I flip these, the faces are now going to be, of these 8 through 13, will be facing to the right. 13. There we go. All right. So did that answer the question? 8 through 13. Here we go.
I didn't see who asked that, but,
The first question. Yeah.
That was Eloise.
oh, okay.
Hey, Eloise, did you catch it that time? So the second comment, or the second instruction after flipping, is for 8 to 13 to turn 1/4 turn towards me. Now, what this effectively does then is have what's happening on the left be mirrored on the right. So if I open these cards up, my right hand has 8 through 13. My left hand has 1 through 7. Now, these are the backs of the cards, so you can't see them. But what I critically want you to look at is the threads. The threads on the left have white in the holes facing me, and the reds facing away. This is mirrored in 8 with the whites facing me and the reds facing the back of the loom. If I then take those 2 cards and just slide them out of my way, I look at the next set mirroring. So we're mirroring from the inside out in order to create these chevrons. So mirroring from the inside out. I'm now looking at, this is 6 and 9. The red is upwards, and in mirrored, the red is upwards here. So when I'm holding the cards here, the red is on the top. I've confirmed those are right. Yes.
Maggie asked, did we reset to all A?
No, we did not. We went straight from slanty lines to chevrons. So if you did, oh, yes, sorry. Going from slanty lines to chevrons, you wanted to be in the slanty line configuration, which is A, B, C, D along here. A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Did that answer that one?
Did that help, Maggie?
Maggie.
So you can just nod and I'll see it.
She said yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So now I'm looking at cards 5 and 11. These should be mirrors of each other. And they are. The reds are towards me and the reds are towards me. So this is the cross check to make sure that this set of cards chevrons out. By mirroring them, they're going to make chevrons. This is the next set. The red is downward. The red is downward. And the next set, the red is to the back and the red is to the back. One more. This set, the red is upward. This set, the red is upward. So now I'm going to put them all back together. It looks like I have them all right. I'm now going to look at the numbers or the letters along the edge, and this corresponds to the final pattern that we're doing. This one straight, whoop, managing my camera skills. So on the left, we're going to have A, B, C, D, A, B, C in Z configuration, which is the facing to the left. And then 8 to 13 will be D, A, B, C, D, A. So just exactly the opposite in Z configuration, in S configuration, sorry. So here we're going to look at the letters and compare them to our pattern. A, B, C, D, A. I'm looking right here. A, B, C. And then I roll it over so I can see them. D, A, B. I'm cross-checking here. D, A, B, C, D, A. D, A, B. I'm looking right here. C, D, C, D, A. So if you get unsorted, just match the Weaver View card, I'm sorry, whole letter to what the pattern is here. But also be looking at where the reds are. Are the reds up? Are the reds to the back? Are the reds down? Are the reds towards me? So now I have set up my cards for making chevrons, and I'm going to retighten my thread. It's now bone crushing. And I will begin to weave. And what it tells me is it wants me to go 8 turns away and then 8 turns towards. So here is 8 turns away. So we're going to start with away. And I'm going to count 2 times around with the A coming back to center. So 1, 2, 3, 4. God, it's forming. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gone around. So now we're going to go the other direction, moving my marker to roll towards me. It says 8 turns towards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I've counted 8. I cross-check that the A is in the weaver view towards me. And there I've made a little, some people call it X. So if you keep doing this, 8 forward, 8 back, 8 forward, 8 back, it makes a cross and an O. So I call them X's and O's, hugs and kisses. So we've completed 8 away and 8 towards me. So this was the 8 away and this was the 8 towards me. And it has an interesting effect, you'll see. We call it potato chipping, because just the very feature of turning the threads causes it to bend. It's not you, don't worry about it. If you wanted to steam iron it before you sewed it onto fabric or garb or such like to help keep it from potato chipping, that might help, but just know that it's a feature of the twist. So there we are. We've come to the end. We've woven our solid red fabric, dark fabric, solid white fabric, big checkerboard, little checkerboard, slanty lines both directions, and then chevrons both directions. Woo, we did it. Questions, bring them. I need a beverage.
Does anybody have any questions? I see some people studiously still weaving.
Well, keep weaving.
Karen asked, is there any good fixes for twisting?
Do you mean the twisty in the weaving, or do you mean the supply further up? Like
Supply, she said.
yes. You mean this little nightmare right here with all the threads turning? It helps to have a loom with a big, let me pick this up.
Oops. I'm sorry, Bridget. I think I just muted you accidentally.
I have a question. This is Sandra from Texas. When will the video be ready to see on YouTube? I'm really far behind. We're in the middle of an ice storm.
Oh,
It's
no.
hailing outside now.
My Lord.
Yeah, it's supposed to get down between 3 and 7 tonight.
Oh,
Wow.
My Lord.
Well, when the
Question is for me. This is
Go ahead, Debbie.
This is Debbie. I'm the one organizing all this. We've got 2 people working on processing the class videos. It's taking some time, among other things, to get the stuff downloaded to their computers, processed, uploaded to me, and so far we only have 6 classes up. It's probably going to take at least a week to get this one up. But what I'm doing for each class is I'm posting in the class event. So if you go to Fibrary Facebook group, you go to events and you go to past events and find this class in there. I will post in there when it's uploaded to YouTube, and I will post the link to go directly from there to YouTube.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. I've been watching the whole time. I got kind of untwisted and twisted between husbands and dogs. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you add cats, kids, dogs. You forgot to add husbands in there.
I haven't got one of those. That doesn't distract me. So there we go. It's just
So
me all
sometimes
alone
it's
in my
working.
loom room.
Also, Vonnie says, I'm just very behind. So I'm relying on the written instructions, but they are good instructions. So I'll just have to catch up.
Also,
Yes, me
I am very available. I'm going to stay until this session shuts down at 5. But if you ping me on Facebook, I'm glad to open a Zoom room of my own with just like 2 of us, 3 of us. I'm happy to help you out and coach you through. I'm not losing you guys. I'm still your happy instructor, happy to give you further guidance. Don't think of this as the end. It's just starting. And I'm glad to guide you through. And even just something as simple as, you know, why is this thread here and not here? Ping me on Facebook and come get me. Okay.
And
I
I am
really
here to
appreciate
tell
you
you,
doing.
I'm here to tell you, believe her when she says that. Contact her, just like me. She loves to teach, and more importantly, loves to get people doing this and enjoying this.
Yep.
So believe her, contact her. You have a great teacher here for as long as you need to do this.
Thank you, Debbie. You're a peach.
Well, thank you.
I
This
really
has
appreciate
been
this.
wonderful. I've
doing-
done tablet weaving before, but the continuous loom thing has always confused me.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've successfully done wavy line.
Woo!
Yay!
And what the reason I'm giving you
Well,
these
I'm-
tools for the patterns is that you can go on and further expand it. And
Right.
make-
Well, I've got something I want to do out of Appleseas and Foxnose.
Oh, yes,
And
yeah,
wavy lines are part of it.
yes. And their notation is different from mine. They have a groovier art,
Yeah.
you know, art
I'm
program
aware.
to display it. But I'm hoping that you can translate what we're doing here today to their patterns.
Well, that's okay. I threaded my cards wrong, so I've been
Oh.
opposite everything you've been doing the whole
I'm
time.
so sorry. Dang it.
Well, I did it ahead of time because last week you said to, thread your loom. So I threaded it, but I didn't remember how you said to thread it. So I just put them in
I'm so
and they
sorry.
were just opposite. I mean, it didn't make any difference. It's just where you have white, I have red, and where you
Right.
have red, I have white.
Exactly. And yours isn't wrong. It's just different. You're not
It's
wrong.
different. Well, I am different. So
Well, we all are, right? So there was a question about the twisting of the supply warp threads, and it's based on this twists more the more that you turn all away or all towards you. So there, and I've tried swivels. They don't work real well with a card weaving loom with a continuous warp loom like this. I have done swivels where each pack has its own, let me be my own cameraman again. Each pack of 4 threads would way down here at the beginning, there would be a swivel here for this set of 4 threads, and then a swivel for this set of 4 threads. It's quite doable, but then you have to push the twist all the way through the warping to get it to undo here at the end. Absolutely do it. And then there are people who take a little block, they have like a block, and then they attach a bunch of swivels. So this block kind of rests down here and travels with the warping so that then they can unthread. Totally doable, kind of a pain in the butt. If you change what you're weaving so that it's 8 forward, 8 back, 8 forward, 8 back, say, or 30 forward, 30 back, then it unweaves after it weaves.
so that's like a negative twist.
Yes, you want, it would be nice to have twist neutral. Interesting feature about the Hallstatt is this is thousands of years old, but once you go through the full set of patterns, which is a triangle, a slanty bar, an opposite triangle, and another slanty bar, that whole set, it's 72 lines. And when you've done it all, it's twist neutral. So you can do yards and yards and yards,
Wow.
yards and yards. Those people were smart. Those people were us without Excel spreadsheets. So finding a pattern that unweaves, untwists as it weaves, it's a good thing. Yeah.
And Bridget, there was a question if you could post the loom makers and shuttles afterwards.
Will do. Absolutely will
And
do.
I am also going to remind you that you asked me to remind you on how to make a join.
Ooh, yes, we want to make a join. So let me move. Let me call my cameraman, Berta, and she's going to come over here and help me out. She's still in the unions, so she can help. So say, can you see? Let me get this bent in a way that we can see it. So if you have loaded some thread on your shuttle and you ran out, oh no, you ran out. Oh, darn, that's the end of it. What are we going to do? So you've rewrapped your shuttle with more. And so we're going to start again. This is the new thread that you've rewrapped. And I wanted to do it the other way. Sorry. I put it through the shed so that I have the old tail that ended, and then here's the new tail. And which way was I going? Which way was I going so that I keep my pattern nice? I was doing towards, now I want to do away. So I'm going to do one turn away, past shuttle. And then I have these two tails. This tail is from the shuttle. This tail is from the ending where it ran out, and make them cross over. So shuttle tail to the left, ending tail to the right. I'm going, my marker says I'm going away. Scrub. And give it a tug to make sure you don't have any extra little blips here. As you run your fingers along the left on the either side, you shouldn't have little rabbit ears. It should be pulled in just enough so that you don't have little blups on the end there. So I'm going to do it one more time, have them cross over, have these tails cross over, and I'm going away, aren't I? Yes, away. Pass the shuttle, stop halfway, scrub. Now we are done with these. So as I continue to weave, let me get a pass or two away. These two are going to be stuck out in the open, but like I did at the beginning, or like I'm going to do at the beginning, I'll take this little end and pull it tight, 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 good scissors right against the edge. And then that little end will just suck in. Same over here. Okay. And that little end is just going to suck right on in. Here's another. Okay, that good? That good? Let's say feet. Did you want to know how to end the band? Yes, you do. So I have a one-page diagram, but I'm going to do it here in front of you. So if I'm going to end the weaving, I need to get to the very end where there's 3 more passes I have to do. 3 more turns of the shuttle, turns of the cards, 3 more passes of the shuttle. So I'm going to cut it 6 inches maybe away from the end. And then I'm going to cut 2 sections that are about 6 inches long. So 1 and 2, about 6 inches long. And you don't have to remember this. I'm going to show you a diagram, but I'm also going to show you here in real person. So here is the weaving tail. I'm going to take this first section, first length, and make a loop. I'm basically going to weave in needles into the weaving. So this loop, I want the tails of this loop to come out the same place that that ending thread came, leaving a loop on the right. So here is the ending thread. Here are the tails of this loop. I'm going to pass, oh, see, move my marker because it's my scissors. So this is pass number 1. Turning the cards, scrub, beat. We're going to pass the tail first. We're going to leave this loop and its tails completely alone. We're going to take our next section of threads and put it in the shed with the loop to the left. And I remember it because the tail of the weaving is on the same side as the tails of the loop. We're going to turn the cards a 3rd time and beat. Now I have embedded in here, this is the weaving tail. This is the first loop and its tails. This is the second loop and its tails. I take the weaving tail, pass it through the shed. I'm going to go one more time, turning the cards to kind of give it something to lean against, a block to lean against. There we go. Then I take, this is the weaving tail. I put it in that loop. Those of you who guessed it, you get bonus points. Goes in that loop. I'm going to take the tails of that loop. Watch carefully. Here's the magic. This is the magic. It pulls through. The loop comes out. And now the weaving tail has been sucked back through the weaving. I'm going to do that again with the second loop, or actually that was the first loop I made. So it's the weaving tail is through that loop. I grab the tail ends of that loop. Here's the magic. The second time, pull it through. We lose the threads, the loop threads, and pull that weaving tail all the way through. There's nothing on the edges. Pull it hard, nip it, and that's it. It's locked in. That's the end of your belt or end of your trim. It's locked in. Whoa.
Beautiful magic there.
Whoa, super cool.
Elizabeth
Super cool.
says this works really well using dental floss or a heddle if you have Texlaw for floor looms.
Exactly. Very good.
And I just wanted to let you know, Bridget, that it's 4:46.
Woohoo.
So
We're good. I'm available if people want to ping me on Facebook when this ends. We could end it now, or if you have questions.
In the chat, I
if it's
contact info for Duran. If you want to get a Duran loom, you can email him at duranredbaron@cs.com. It's in the chat there.
Good.
By the way, if there's info in the chat that you want to keep, if you go down to the far right and click on, okay, this one's weird. This one doesn't work.
How do we spell what, Elizabeth?
Sorry.
any of the links that were dropped into the chat, I have saved in some notes on the side, and then we can post those in the event after.
I'm still here, don't worry. I'm still here. I'm saving the file myself.
Oh, Gertrude asked, what's the next course that you're going to be teaching?
In 2 weeks, on the 28th, 28th, we are learning using this same warping. You can go completely from this into this pattern. This is the Hallstatt 3-1 twill. Woo, keep it in frame. This right here, this pattern you will be doing. I will post how the weaving pattern for it, the turns for it, that's in 2 weeks.
Kendrick said, tricky way to end the weaving. Thank you. I've tried to sew the tail back in, and that was a lot harder. And thank you for the refresher. See you in a week.
This was easy peasy, the ending, and all of your tools are right there. Everything you need is right there. Oh, ooh, how to undo. How to undo. That's another hot tip. It's like tinking in knitting. I'm going to jump back in here. Start this up. And if you remember how we started it, we move the tail back in. And that's all I really need to do. There we go. So say, for example, I wanted to undo what I just wove. And I don't remember, the cards are all misaligned. I can't remember what I did. Here's how I figure out how to unweave that. I know that I can just turn this whole pack and undo it. But if I had done crazy stuff and interesting patterns where some of the cards move forward, some of the cards move backwards, some are flipped this way and that, and all different, how do you unweave one row at a time? So here's Bridget's hot tip. The shuttle is to the right. I go to the left side, far left card, and I pull it out. Pull it out. And in there, I see, and I want to get rid of that. I'm just going to cut it because I'm not ruthless. I pull it apart a little bit. Here's another use for the safety pin that you have to pin your cards, is you're going to reach in there, use the safety pin, because that's your last loop. So the shuttle thread came through here and made a loop. You're going to grab that loop without splitting any of these threads and pop it out gently, gently. And let me put something under it so you can see better what the hay wagon's going on here. I'm sorry, I can't really get any closer on the camera. So this little loop right here, I'm going to use the safety pin to pull it out. And that's the shuttle thread. There it is. So how do I undo it? So I open up the loop a little and gently work it up. See the threads? Flip it over. Where's the back page or something here? There we go. See, there we go. So looking edge on, if I rotate the whole pack, I worry this up a little bit. And then I pull to get my little fingers in there. You can undo a little bit. Thank you. So I have, there's my loop. And I'm using that loop to pull up the cards to what the previous, I'm actually, this is the current shed. This is the previous shed. So to change the cards, and now watch carefully, this is the moment of magic. You pull, and the cards will rotate back. Because this whole pack turned at once, it was easy to turn them. But if you have a warping where some cards turn forward, some cards turn back, you're holding this position, and then I often can put the shuttle in there to hold the position. The thread is still in there. Don't take it out because that's your orientation. So I'm looking at it sideways. So this is looking at it sideways. So you can untink, you're tinking, you're unweaving it. So once you have turned all the cards backwards, then you can pass your shuttle backwards through and you've unwoven one pass. That makes sense. The key again is go to the far card opposite of the shuttle. Use your safety pin to find the loop, pull the loop out, work the loop up, and get your fingers in there to split apart the old shed. Did that make sense? I hope that did.
So Elizabeth Silver said, this is slick. How does it work with a flipped card?
It allows you to identify what's wrong with the flipped card because it won't unweave. You'll have your old shed here and you're thinking, dang it, why won't it be
that
right?
makes sense. That makes sense.
You can, it at least identifies how to undo it. And you can, I have tinked backwards after making an error. It takes time, but it's possible to undo it. Here's another total cheat. It's not a cheat, darn it, it's a tool. If you've decided I hate the last 3 inches, hate's a hard word. It's totally legal to split the cards, and I'm now splitting it. Let me use this backing so you can see it again. I'm splitting the cards, and then I have this little ladder of the weft threads. Do you see the little ladder of the weft threads? You can get a safety pin carefully. Now let's use very tiny toenail clippers to go nip, 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 and be spreading it, nip it, spread it, nip it, and then just pull out the little end bits of the weft. It's totally legal. Nobody's going to yell at you for it. If you have to weave back an inch or 2 or 3, you can do it that way. It's much faster than trying to do the tinking method that I just described. Let's do this some more. I love weaving, you guys. I have many more patterns. The Mammon Band, found in 980, is a Viking. This pattern was actually woven about as thick as just the red band of linen. The white was linen, the red and green was wool. The white disintegrated completely in the bog. All that was left was the wool. I corresponded with the textile archaeologist who had pulled this out of the ground, not this, but the original out of the ground, and wrote down, she charted this entire thing and sent me the chart. This is 3-1 twill, like the Hallstatt. This is the Saxon. It's very thick. It's crazy thick. You have 2 packs of cards. One pass, 1 pack turns. The next pass, the other pack turns. Super crazy. There's a beautiful handout on it, if anybody wants it. These mostly, this can be found. This is the Osberg ship burial. Super easy. Warp it up, and then you can do it. You can weave it in the dark. The warping's the hard part. The weaving's the easy part. I'm hoping that a lot of you are already on. There are so many tablet weaving Facebook groups where patterns, people have posted their patterns, how they've made the patterns and all. There's a lot of sharing. Please stay away from Pinterest. The most hateful thing in the world is when someone shows up on one of those weaving groups with a Pinterest picture, no source, no name, no way of figuring out what the heck it is, and says, I want to weave this. And everybody does a head desk like, oh, crap. We have to figure it out. And they do. And we do. And we usually figure it out. My queen wanted hearts. And so I found, this is called Hutchdorf. And this specific pattern is the Bath tea. Anyway, I have the pattern for it. I figured it out. It's 2-hole, meaning that there's red in one hole, white in the other, and these are empty. And it's super crazy. But I figured it out. I figured out a way to do it. We can do it if you want. Let's do more. Let's weave more. I'm calling it. Gita?
Yep.
We
So
did good.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.